Hello and welcome to Sarah's Stampin' Retreat. Today I'm going to be showing you how to add some simple stitching to your cards with this gorgeous large sunflower from the Spellbinders Stitching Die of the Month for September. So this is a really cute die, and as with a lot of the stitching dies that Spellbinders create, it's really flexible. So for example, this you can cut just the outline or you can cut it with the stitching holes. So you can see this one I've created with the stitching holes, and we'll stitch that in a second. And then I've cut one to go behind it without the stitching. But you could do 2 layers of this if you didn't want to do any stitching. And then we've got the stem. The leaves again you can do with or without the stitching. And then you've got the centre, so there are 2 layers to this. So if you didn't want to stitch, you could just use this one, or you could use it like that and just have the stitching like a pattern. But then this piece has got the stitching holes in as well for if you want to add extra stitching. So that is these dies, and then we've got thanks so much. So you've got the actual words for those and the shadow as well. So with this card, I'm going to create quite a simple card, but we can add a little bit of texture and dimension with a bit of ink blending and the stitching. You can see there's not a lot to this flower, it's literally 7 die cuts. So then I'm going to use my Honey Drizzle Altenew ink just to add a bit of extra colour to those petals. And I'll add a little to this one too. And then I'm going to do the same with the leaves. So I'm just going to add a bit of moss ink just to the bottom of the leaves. And then I'll do the same with the top of the stem as well. So then for the sewing, I tend to use 2 strands of embroidery thread. And then because it's just paper, we don't need it to look pretty at the back, I can just tape down the loose end. And then I'm going to go up the base of one of the petals, and I'm going to go into here, and then each of these holes will go into and then back into this base piece. And there are embossed lines to tell you where to go. It's really simple. You just go into the top ones and back through the bottom one. And I'm choosing to do tone on tone just for a bit of texture, but you could do gold, brown, like whatever kind of takes your fancy, a bit of orange maybe for a bit of contrast. So then I'll go round and do all of the petals in the exact same way, so they all just go from the base up to each of the other holes. So then next we're going to do the leaves, and again I'm just going to tape the back down, and we're going to go up through the bottom, and then as we move up the leaf we're going to bring in these side pieces. So again there's lines to show you where to go, so I'm just going out to either side and back into that middle one. And then we're going to go up to the next hole, and again out to the sides. So you're out to one side, into the middle, out to the other side, back into the middle, and up to the next hole. Same again, out to the side, into the middle, out to the side, into the middle, and up to the next hole. And then we'll just fill in those gaps on the way back down. So we're going to go back down to here, so we're just going straight back down the middle of the leaf to fill in those gaps. So you can see it's really simple, but it really adds a nice dimension to the leaf. If we compare this one to this one, you can see how much nicer it looks. And again, I'm just going to secure this to the back before I cut it off. So then for this final piece, I am going to use a slightly more contrasting thread, a much lighter thread than the colour of the cardstock. And for this one, we're just going up and down in lines. So I'm going to here, and then I'm going to go down to the one the opposite side. Then I'm going to go across to the next one and up to the top, and then across the next one and down to the bottom, across to the next one and up to the top, across to the next one and down to the bottom. And then I'm going to go back the other way across the thing, so we've got like a grid. So it's the exact same motion. So I'm going across. I could actually do these end ones as well, actually. I think they're probably not supposed to do these end ones. They're quite close to the other ones. But hey. So literally just going across in a big grid pattern. And you can see that these pieces take hardly any time to complete. So it's a really nice way of adding texture without spending ages on something. So then I've finished this off and I've done the other leaf. And you might see that round here I've got some stray bits of thread. Now you could do each of these petals individually and tape the ends down individually, and then you wouldn't get these. But I had a look at this and popped that there, and realistically when that's on top then you don't really see them anyway, so I just kept mine joined. So I've taken the backing off all those pieces of double-sided tape that I had gluing those down because they'll help to adhere the flower, and then I'm going to glue that onto the plain one. I'm just offsetting those petals. And then I'm going to add this centerpiece to the other piece of the center. And then I'm going to pop that up on some foam pads. So then I've got this piece which is 1/4 of an inch smaller than my card blank, and I've embossed that using the embossing folder of the month, which is this really pretty pattern. I think it's perfect for cards like this where it's just adding some texture to the background. So I'm going to glue that to my card front. So then I've got this "Thanks so much" cut out in brown cardstock. So I'm just going to glue that to the bottom of the card. So then I want the stem to go up there. And then we'll have the leaves on either side of the stem. And then we can glue the sunflower at the top. So then we've got this really pretty textured card, and we've got all of that stitch detailing which is really adding to the card, but it's not really taking us that long because they're quite big stitches and each piece doesn't really take very long to do. I really love the dimension that it gives. So I really hope that you enjoyed creating today's card with me. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's card are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a pictures playlist if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.